Okay, well, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. There might be a couple folks who join us in the next few minutes while this begins, so we'll begin kind of slow. We're going to start with an introduction. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Chris Mutter. I'm a partner with HGOR, and we are the landscape architects and land planners and the lead consultant for the design team. And I should have started with me welcoming you and saying thank you. Welcome to the Brookhaven City Center Vision 2021 second listening session today. Thank you all for your participation and taking the time this evening to sit with us. We're gonna, the purpose of tonight, we're gonna try to share with you all some instruments that we've created with you, as well as some information and data we've collected. But before that, we wanted to introduce our team and who we are. And as I said, HGOR, the planners and landscape architects. We also have Atlas Engineering on the team, who is the vehicular engineers, vehicular mobility engineers on the project, as well as Alta Engineering, who's focused on pedestrian and biking mobility issues within the space. We've got HRNA, who are market analysts, who are on the team to study the Brookhaven area, the real estate, what's going on in the area, as well as potential market target or needs that are found. And then Sycamore Consulting, who are the wizards who have put together a website, this format tonight, and our community and public outreach experts on the team. And additionally, we've got various city staff members on for part of the function tonight. We'll get to some questions and answers, and if anything comes up in that process that needs to direct through the city, they're involved to answer directly. But let me do some housekeeping first. Tonight, everything you're going to see tonight, everything you're going to hear tonight is being recorded and will be posted on the website that we're going to tell you about in a moment. Also, the platform we're using right now, we're going to ask everyone, the first half of the hour, we're going to share information and show you all some tools and show you how they're to be used and what their abilities are. But we want to ask along the way, the intention of this is to get as much information from you all as possible. So both on this call tonight, as well as in the next month or so, as we're collecting this information, please use the question and answer button at the bottom of the screen on there, down next to participants. You'll see a Q&A. We're going to go through the presentation part, and then at the end, Ed with Sycamore is going to kind of be the game show host, and he will field the questions that we receive, and we'll try our best to answer them tonight. If we don't get through all of the questions, we will be posting the questions and the responses on the website, as well as any question we don't get to on the call tonight, we will respond to and put that on the website as well. We will introduce you and show you momentarily the link to the website itself. And every bit of the materials that you're going to see on here tonight and then some are on the website. And that's important, just so you know that you don't have to feel that you need to do a screen capture or get it any way. You'll be able to go directly onto the website and copy if you want to copy it, a high def image that's there available for you. I want to make mention of, these are the listening sessions today, and then we're going to kick off a website and some tools to get feedback for the next 5 weeks from City. We're also simultaneously going to tell you about a drop-in center that we're opening up that's in the City Hall building today that we'll tell you a little bit about, the website itself. And then again, to restate, the last 20 or 30 minutes or so of this hour will be fielding questions and answers. So with that, I'd like to step into a bit about why we're here tonight, portion of this. And the reason for that is the mission is to advance a previous initiative by the City of Brookhaven that identified the need for a city center. So this master plan and this consultant team is setting out to create master plan for the vision for that city center. And what is master plan? To us, that is a physical representation of the wants and needs and programs of both the city and the people who live and work and play within that city. So what's really important to us is allowing the citizens to ask the questions that are important to them, point out the places that are important to them, or the obstacles and and maybe shortcomings or gaps they see today that's out there on these streets and in these areas. So having said that, let's jump right into what we know so far. And Jen, if you'll pull up the portion, thank you. And let me take a step back. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. I want to introduce all the teams by name. And I've said Jen, who just pulled this up with Sycamore, she'll be kind of driving a lot of the ship tonight, as well as Ed. And then what we have here is an image from Alta Engineering, and Kat Maines is going to take us through what information is on this portion of the data on the website.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you again for joining us. As Chris said, all these maps are available on the website, and so I hope you all will take the opportunity later on to go through and look at these in a little bit more detail. This is a larger scale version of the enlargements that you'll find on the website. So the versions on the website will have a lot more detail, and you'll be able to kind of see specific intersections of streets. But I'm just going to kind of walk through what's on these maps, how we got that information, and why it's important for us moving forward. You'll probably notice the first thing, the pink shading of some of these streets. So the darker shading refers to the busier streets in the study area where the level of traffic volumes and vehicle speeds that are on there today necessitate some kind of on-street bicycle infrastructure in order to really support any bicyclists that want to use that route. You'll also notice there is some lighter pink shading on Apple Valley Road and a few other streets. Those are streets that are a little bit quieter today, and given the existing traffic volumes and speeds, could be a little bit friendlier to bicyclists as they are today, and kind of still serve as connections for destinations in the study area. There are also light purple lines next to some of the roads that are a little bit hard to see on this map, but easier on the versions that you'll find on the website. And those represent the existing sidewalks. This was data that came from the City of Brookhaven, and then we field verified on site and using aerial imagery. The solid purple lines represent sidewalks that are in good condition today. So sidewalks that are at least 5 feet wide, and that have sufficient buffer from adjacent traffic where there's heavy enough traffic to kind of necessitate that buffer between sidewalk and cars. There are also dashed purple lines, which represent sidewalks that need improvement. So either too narrow, or maybe they have some maintenance problems, or for the level of traffic, really need a buffer there. So highlighting some of those places where there is infrastructure, but maybe it's not quite up to today's standards. This map also shows crash data. So we collected crash data from police reports for the past 5 years. And on the next slide, Atlas will talk a little bit more about the specifics of the crash data. But we have mapped on here all of the crashes and whether they resulted in a minor pedestrian injury, which are the yellow circles with the pedestrian symbol on them, a major pedestrian injury, which are the red circles with the pedestrian in them, and then the minor bicyclist injury, which is the yellow circle with the bike wheel in it. So you can kind of see where those have occurred in the past 5 years in the study area. We also have data on street lights on here, which was also provided by the City of Brookhaven. So kind of showing us where there's some existing amenities beyond just the presence of a sidewalk today. The dashed circles that you see around a few of the intersections, there's one of them at Peachtree in Dresden, and a few other of the busier intersections. Those are places that we've identified as places that need potential intersection improvements. So that might mean ADA upgrades, that might mean changes in how some of the turning movements occur. But places where we see, there's a lot of traffic there today of all modes, and there might be some improvements for how they could all come together harmoniously. We also have data on what's at those intersections specifically. So whether there's existing traffic lights, existing rectangular rapid flashing beacons, which are the sort of pedestrian flashing signals that are along Dresden today, and then where there are existing sidewalks. So where it's safe to cross from one street to another in the network. And then finally, we have transit on here. You know, we understand that transit is a super important component of the mobility network in this study area. It also generates a lot of walking trips in particular and biking trips for people who are trying to begin or end their trip after their bus ride or transit ride. So we've highlighted where those stops are today, so where we can anticipate some of that activity. And then on the MARTA site itself, we've identified the paths that people tend to use to get into and out of the MARTA station. So where are those places along the periphery of the MARTA site where you expect people to really need to safely get onto this station area and then ultimately to the platform? So as I said, these are all available in more detail on the website. I hope you all will go on there and take a look to kind of see if that lines up with what you're thinking and give us some feedback on it.
Thank you, Kat. Next is crash data, vehicular crash data summary, and Eric Scott with Atlas Engineers is going to take you through that.
Thanks, Chris. So we just wanted to introduce the introductory slide that's going to be featured on the website. And again, as Kat specified, there's going to be blow-ups of this map on the website. So you're going to be able to zoom in on the various intersections and see a lot more details than you can currently see. But just a big overview of what we were looking at in terms of the crash data. We pulled crash data for vehicle on vehicle crashes, vehicle on pedestrian crashes, and bicycles or bikes and vehicle crashes. And we were looking, when we were able to pull them through the police reports, we were able to actually get some kind of interesting data, some more specific data into what was actually going on, what resulted in the crash occurring. And when you look on the website, you're going to be able to track that for all the different types of crashes. For example, for example, the first one on number 1 on the intersection of Peachtree Road and Brookhaven Drive, there's 3 pedestrian crashes. So when you go on the website, you'll be able to figure out, well, what type of behavior was leading to this crash to occur? Is there something in the way that pedestrians are reacting? Maybe when they're leaving the MARTA station, for example, is the infrastructure in place to sort of to lead to potentially a crash occurring? And so I would just encourage you guys to look or to go out and look more specifically on the website and see what was going on. The other thing we do mention as well is injuries, as well as just the other types of crashes. So, and again, it was pulled from the police reports, which were pulled from Brookhaven City Police reports. So, and it's also just good big picture wise, like why is this important? Because as we're visioning and sort of seeing what could potentially happen in this site, it's important to know, okay, well, where are the points potentially where accidents and crashes are occurring? Where is it dangerous a bit currently for vehicles, cars, pedestrians, and bikes? Thanks, Chris.
Terrific. Thank you, Eric. And next, Sarah Kirk is going to take us through the HRNA preliminary market finding information, describe maybe a little bit about what the market feasibility study will be doing by HRNA.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Chris. So HRNA is working on an analysis of market conditions and demographic conditions, not only in the study area, but in Brookhaven as a whole, as well as within the region. The purpose of this is to identify what trends have been happening in real estate development recently, how there might be opportunities for additional development of residential, office, and retail in the study area based on trends, again, within and around Brookhaven. This work is based on an analysis of demographic trends, socioeconomic trends in the area, based on performance of existing real estate development in the area, based on projected growth trends, as well as the performance of recent development and conversations with developers who are working in this market. So we've provided some preliminary findings of that analysis that are available on the website, and would encourage everybody to take a look. Obviously, one of the things that we're hearing pretty clearly, and that will likely inform the development of the master plan, is that Brookhaven is an area that is generally high income and it's growing. So that growth is really likely to fuel some opportunities for development down the line. So that work will really be informing the master plan when we start to think about what could actually be built in the site that could support the community, accommodate growth, and make the city center the district that the master plan wants it to be.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. And last but not least is Sycamore, and we're going to now step into the how to stay involved section of our presentation. And Jen, I'll throw it over to you and Ed to take us through our interactive tool.
Thank you, Chris. Hello again, everyone. We thank you so much for being here tonight to join us here tonight to talk about Brookhaven City Center. And we're specifically excited to show you how you can continue to stay involved in this process. We've put together some online interactive tools that we hope that you and your neighbors will take advantage of. We are in a different time where we can't get together physically and in person, but we did try to come up with a way to accommodate that as well that we'll talk about a little later. But for now, I'm going to turn it over to Ed. He's going to go through the website that we've set up. It's an interactive site that has some mapping tools. It has some surveys, and it will be a tool that you can use throughout the duration of the study. But we will have different activities for you to participate in as we progress. So I think Ed is going to share his screen.
Yeah, I think you'll have to stop sharing.
There you go.
There
So
we go.
As that's happening, folks, I wanted to share that if you go to the chat button down there, Ed also posted a link to the website. So if you're at a computer or on your phone, whatever, you can be following along yourself or following his screen, what he's going to take you through.
Awesome. So here is the website in question. Thank you, Chris and Jen and everyone else for presenting the overview. So essentially at the top, we'll have some announcements and a very timely reminder for the public meeting that you're currently attending. We've got our kind of opening statement, why we're here, what is the purpose of a master plan, how you can participate and why your input is very important in this process. Next, we have the documents that Kat, Eric, and Sarah presented in their full detail. So this is kind of what we've learned so far of the existing conditions. You can see that everything is easily viewable and a little bit more accessible. I'll go with the existing biking and walking network that Kat presented, just to show you a little bit of the up close details, so you can see the overview. Then if you notice on this main page, in the bottom left, you have page 1. The center, you've got page 2, page 3, 4, and 5. And those are blown up in very good detail with all of the details that Kat mentioned, the transit stops, street lights, amenities, conditions for biking and walking on the various streets in the Brookhaven City Center study area. So we definitely invite you to check these out in full detail. The same is true of Sarah and Eric's presentation as well, that you see the details here on the social engagement website. Next, we've got the feedback mechanism, the fun ways for you to stay involved in this process. We've got 3 main tools that we're really trying to get folks engaged with. We've got an interactive mapping tool. We have our first community survey, and then we have a community forum where you can discuss and discuss with each other and with us, of course. So I'll go into the interactive mapping tool first. So for this tool, we are trying to get your opinions and ideas in kind of 5 general categories. So you'll have the option to pick one of 5 markers and drag and drop them onto the map of the study area. So those 5 markers are when you click on the interactive mapping tool, those are defined here. We're asking for your input on destinations and hotspots, mobility issues, safety concerns, your ideas and suggestions. And the last one, the city center, we're kind of trying to figure out where do you think the city center should be and why. So if you click the Get Started Now button, you can see we've got a little bit of input from folks that probably attended our meeting earlier today. So I'm gonna just zoom in and do an example of this. Down here you can see, and someone pointed out at the previous meeting that this no longer exists. The North Atlanta Station, Atlanta Post Office, that's not a thing anymore. So I'm gonna take a look at this base map that we're using and see if we can update the labels or get a better, more current set of labels for this. But for the moment, the reason I chose this one is that it's clear to see. You can, it's almost like you're looking at people's backyards. But I'm gonna just drag a destination over the Brookhaven branch library. I love libraries. I wish that I could still hang out in them during this crazy time we're living in. But I'm grateful for Kindle and for the digital library access that I still have. So when you drop a marker on a place, you can leave a detailed comment. You can leave as much or as little info as you want. I'm just going to say that I love the library. Another thing you can do, which isn't really relevant for the library because you know what a library looks like. But if, for example, you were doing a mobility issue or a safety concern or an idea or suggestion, you can attach a photo. So if there's an example of something that you've seen in another city that looks really cool and you want to display this for everyone to see, you can attach a photo of it. Or if you catch somebody doing something really unsafe, like a car just blasting through an intersection, or a picture of the sidewalk that Shel Silverstein and you can see it has popped up right there. All right, so I'll go back to the website and scroll down. So the next tool, the community survey, it will take you around 10 minutes, probably no more than 10 minutes. And we've organized it into kind of 4 overarching themes of what makes a city center a great place, a vibrant place that people want to go to, that people want to spend time in. And those 4: connectivity, land use, and activity. And so the questions are kind of based around that. So I will go down to the next section of engagement that we invite you to participate in, which is our community forum. So those 4, we ask people to define success for those four general areas. So we kind of outline again what each of these areas is talking about and ask for your input into how do you think success can be obtained and defined within these categories. And with the forum, you're able to respond. So you can start a thread. It's kind of like on Reddit where you can start a thread, or you can comment on someone else's comment. So it's kind of a community discussion about what everyone wants to see for the future of Brookhaven City Center. And so moving down, we've got our kind of housekeeping general announcements. The announcements for public meetings will be here, and the registration links as well as information on things like the drop-in center. So with that, I think I will pass it back to Jen to talk about the drop-in center and to say what that's all about.
Yeah. So we've created a drop-in center at City Hall. Towards that back area, when you enter City Hall through the parking lot, there are two doors there, and there's one to the right that's on the corner. I think it might have been like an early voting location a while ago, but it's accessible from exterior. And we've created and set up all of the displays that you saw here today in that space. So you're free to go and take a look at the displays in person. We have some protocol steps set up in the beginning so that everyone can participate safely. We have a copy of the survey. We have a hand sanitizer and single-use pens if you want to grab one while you're there. And then you can just take a walk around the room and look at some of the displays. Again, the more in-depth and more granular version of these displays are on the website, but we just wanted to give you an opportunity to get out and see some of the stuff face to face if that's your style. And then we mimicked the interactive map as well. We've color-coded the dots to correspond to the activities that you participate in on the website. So just in case some people don't have access to the internet, or they just want to get out for the day and go visit City Hall, we hope you'll stop by and take a look at our drop-in center. It's going to be open starting tomorrow, weekdays. So tomorrow and then next Monday through Friday, it'll be open until from 9 to 4 o'clock p.m. every day. So for about a week, we'll have that space available. If you have friends and neighbors who couldn't make it today, again, we hope that they'll participate online. We'll be sharing this recording today on the website, and we'll have those tools that Ed showed you, the survey and the interactive map, available until January 8th. So the first week into January, we'll have all of this stuff up for y'all to play around with. And then again, the drop-in center open for all of next week. I think with that, we are here for the remainder of this evening. We're happy to answer any questions you have. There's a Q&A box, and we had a little discussion in the chat that we could probably start with a question about safety and about traffic calming. Ed is going to field any questions that y'all have. You can share them in the Q&A box, and he'll go ahead and start with that. And if anything comes up, again, we're here for 30 minutes. We're happy to answer any questions you'll have. So I'll hand it over back to Ed.
Thanks, Jen. So yeah, to reiterate what you just said, there was a question from Michael that I'll maybe direct to Eric or to Kat about speeding. So Michael asked, does this plan include putting speed bumps on Peachtree View? Lots of cars are speeding on this road. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about speed bumps or about how to tackle speed, or anything that you've learned so far that may be relevant to this.
Yeah, I can start. I think it's a great point, and that's exactly the type of feedback that we're looking for on the interactive map. You know, we have not quite gotten to the level of details to look at where we will be recommending any kind of traffic calming, but you know, speed bumps are a very effective form of traffic calming. So if speeding is in particular a concern of residents and potential impacts of future development, that's definitely one of the tools in the suite of strategies we'll be looking at.
And if it's okay, I'll add to that, Kat, that the study, the master plan will, the densities that get proposed and the uses that get proposed, it will also talk about the yield and the demand of cars and traffic on to the city streets from the development. And the master plan will speak to traffic improvements that are a result of those densities of cars. If an office building is proposed somewhere, the reality of the 9 to 5 inflow and outflow of vehicles will be addressed.
Great, thank you, Kat and Chris. We've got a general kind of planning process question from Karsten. Karsten's asked, what is the overall calendar for the city center plan development? Looks like you've done a lot of data gathering, and are now soliciting citizen input. So what comes after that? I can turn this one over to Chris again, if you want to say what comes after, what are the next steps?
So great question, Carson, thank you. And so we're in this collection of information. I keep calling it a cake batter in some of our meetings, right? And we're going to set off that we're collecting all the ingredients right now, all the data and information. The next immediate steps is there's some stakeholders, not the least of which is MARTA, but we're going to start to engage and have meetings with stakeholders, business owners and whatnot in the area, and collect further data on that. And then it's going to take a small period of time to when the consultants can gather all of this information and then analyze it, what we can pull from it. So in the weeks after that is when we'll start to generate concept ideas at a very high level. We expect some of this feedback might ask us questions like, what if a city center is here? What if a city center is here? Or what if a city center is here? And we'll analyze each of those things diagrammatically, land use wise, and give that information back. And I envision a back and forth period with the city and communicating those thoughts back and forth.
Ed, and to add to what Chris just said, if you still have your website pulled up, if you scroll all the way to the bottom of that website, you can see there's kind of a short snippet of where we currently are, what preceded this meeting, and what our next few steps are. It's not an overarching schedule for the next year, but it is a good place to start and kind of keep coming back to the website and keep revisiting to see what kind of things are coming up. And it should give you a better understanding of where we are in the process and what the next steps are as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenya, for pointing that out. And thanks, Chris. So the next question we've got from Sharon asks, does Brookhaven city government already own property large enough for the city center? So I can turn this over to Patrice, perhaps, to talk about the property ownership and the city center question, or to Chris, or to anyone who wants to answer.
So the city currently only owns our park facilities and the location where the public safety building is, and one other small property that I can think of, but no, right now we don't own any property in the city center study area boundary other than the portion of Brookhaven Park that we have.
And then Sharon, the second question or second half of your question, the funding source of this, that'll be a large part of HRNA's market analysis, from incentives to different options for funding mechanisms.
So the next question we have from Michael, he asks, what's the latest redevelopment project that's possibly called Brookhaven Village where the tax office is? He also asks, could we elaborate any further on the redevelopment at the MARTA parking lot? So this, again, I'll throw this up to Patrice and Chris, if either of you would like to speak to the Brookhaven Village redevelopment project or the MARTA parking lot redevelopment.
Sure. So right now, the Dresden Village project, and I see Ms. Norton commented regarding the tax abatement. The developer for that project has withdrawn their request for the tax abatement and is looking at what their next steps will be for redevelopment of the site. So they have their current zoning entitlements available to them, but they have not approached the city about any time frame or plans for moving forward with that project. And with regard to the MARTA property, there are no active plans for redevelopment currently. So we're going through this process to kind of guide what the expectations will be for that area as well.
And Chris, I don't know if you want to speak to the next, some of our next steps are going to be stakeholder engagements, which include engaging with MARTA.
Right. That's all I would add to that is, Mr. Kaplan, is that we would, of course, be coming to the table with MARTA, with all of this information gathered and get their input and what their interests are in this idea, and looking at every bit of that land. If you said, I happen to be looking at Google Earth, Apple Valley around North Druid Hills, Dresden, and Peachtree, that kind of oval shape collectively.
Thank you, Chris and Patrice. Sharon's got a follow-up question, essentially asking, will there be a tax increase to pay for a new city center? I don't know if Chris or Patrice, if you all want to respond to that one.
I will jump in that I believe the immediate answer is no. What will come from this exercise is HRNA will generate a market study and analysis that might make recommendations. For instance, a tax could be done, or these incentives could be generated, but not one will be created from this process. That would have to be voted upon.
Right, that's that kind of touches on the definition of what exactly we're doing here. We're really looking to create kind of a guiding, a document that will help guide future policy and future development processes. So there's nothing really set in stone. We're not arguing for specific infrastructure to be erected or specific policy to be implemented. We're just trying to analyze and see what approaches that would be most beneficial to the city center that we all agree that we want to have, essentially.
I think that's fair, and I'll add to both Chris and Ed's point is that instead of looking at microcosms of some of these questions, think of this exercise as this is where you live, this is where you go out to eat, this is where you probably entertain yourself in one way or another. And we're looking at creating a city center that everybody will utilize. And basically at this point, use the data that we're provided as educational materials to kind of learn a little bit more about where you live and what's happening in this specific study area, and then go and take that interactive map and place those individual elements on the map and make a comment why you think it should go there, and kind of tell us what you want, because a big part of this, as much as stakeholders, it's also the community engagement, because we want to know what the people want, and use these tools to tell us what you want. And then at the end of this 5 weeks that we have this process open for, we will gather that data, we will review it and see if there is some trends that come out of it that are similar, and then we will present that back to you and to the city, kind of highlighting what people want and what stakeholders want, and then that will help us move forward. And then as we proceed and the project evolves, then we can start addressing some of these more specific questions. But it's really hard to answer those without knowing some of the demands and some of the possibilities and opportunities on the site as well. So just think of it a little bit more loose at this point. Give us everything you can, tell us what you want, and we will take that data and kind of repackage it, and that will be our, I think, next step.
Thanks, Junior. That was really well put. So that looks like the end of the questions for the moment. We're happy to stick around until 7 p.m. to field any further questions.
And we did have a hand raised.
Oh, sorry about that.
Would you mind? It flashed and went away, and I don't know how to get it back. But there is also a question in the Q&A box as well.
Sure.
I'll read the
Howard
question
asks-
while you find the hand raised. So the question is there a particular reason that the current study area for the city center is reduced to the current area in the study? So why did we select this particular location? Patrice, do you want to shed some light on that?
Sure. Obviously, the area was a smaller version of what we call our Peachtree Road overlay. The city's goal is to ensure that we're focusing on a targeted area. And so when you look at the overlay boundary, it is a little bit bigger than what we would like to have for this specific project. We wanted to make sure that we were honing in on where people would really be walking and living and working and playing and everything. So we reduced that overlay boundary to come up with the project study area.
Oh. Thank you. Looks like the hand raise was a mistake, so no worries. Get into that one. Ed.
It looks like we might have answered most of the questions to date, but I know that either Ed or Jen, you guys mentioned that this session is being recorded and it will be shared. And I just wanted to kind of piggyback on that and saying that the previous session from 1 p.m. is also going to be on there. There's some additional questions in there. And then Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our plan is to go ahead and kind of collect all of these questions from both sections and also put those online as well. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Both of the sessions today, which are pretty similar, except for the question and answer portion. Both videos of the session will be on the website, as well as the Q&A will be transcribed, and we'll throw that up there as well. And it looks like we have another question that involves community input. Someone spoke with a neighbor today who didn't know anything about the project. It seems odd that community input is being asked for during the holidays when concentration is on other things. What is going to be done to let a broader group of people know about this project?
Well, I'll jump in. We couldn't help the timing. So we did take that into consideration, and we are extending the outreach into the new year. And that is just on the survey and on the interactive website. The website will be open for the duration of the study. So if folks don't get to participate in this first phase of input, then we will of course, have other chances for people to be involved. If we get to January the 8th and see that we didn't get enough input, you know, perhaps there's an opportunity to extend the survey and the interactive map deadline beyond that. You know, we are definitely here to hear as much as we can from you all and from your neighbors. We are using all the tools at the disposal of the city. That includes their weekly email blast. It includes posting on Nextdoor and on their social media. And then we do have to rely upon you all. You know, we hope that you will tell your neighbors. If you found out today and know that your neighbors and your friends don't know about what's happening, please, please, please share information about the website. Please tell them about the drop-in center. Our goal is to hear from as many people as we possibly can. And so we hope that you'll help us. And if you know of other ways that we can reach out to people, you know, short of putting a postcard in every mailbox, we definitely want to hear that. We thought about doing that as well, but you know, at least doing it for the study area. But this is a citywide effort. So instead of just concentrating on people within the study area, we wanted to open this up to everyone. So we hope you'll help us reach more people. If you do have other ways that we can engage with your neighbors, please let us know. We're happy to step outside of the box and do some different things. It is unfortunate that we can't be in person. We often in studies like this, we do pop-up events where we just show up at ball games and at shopping centers and all kinds of random places and share information about the study. So things are a little different considering we have to be virtual for this plan. So we hope that everyone will kind of lean into this with us and pivot with us and find ways to engage. So thank you for your question.
And Jen, I didn't want to interrupt you, but as you were saying that, Ed also just posted to the chat on this call the link to the Brookhaven Blast newsletter. And, you know, please, we encourage everyone, if you're not getting that already, to go click that, register for that, and share that link with anyone and everyone. All right. Well, I want to take a second and just thank all of you who participated and got involved. And as we said early in the beginning, that the master planning process to us, it's imperative to get the influence and the input from everyone that's going to be living, touching, breathing, being part of this idea and this master plan. We don't ever want to do this in a vacuum, in a silo. You know, getting the input, the wants, and let that dictate and drive what the program needs want to be is, to us, imperative to a successful master plan. So we're very excited about setting off in this process and getting input and feedback from everyone, and then sitting down at a table with hopefully with a group of people and taking it all in and analyzing it and doing what we do in mixing that cake batter to make a city center. Thank you again, and happy holidays to all.
Thank you. Actually, guys, while we're still here, I can take this opportunity and ask Patrice a question. I'm currently on the brookhaven.gov website, and I'm trying to navigate to where we have a link for the website for our project. Is there a link that kind of links us to directly to the website from there, or is this something that we need to add? Because I know that we have Brookhaven City Center Master Plan engagement. It's right there on the front page, and when I click on that, it pulls up kind of a register to participate, and it's got a few things. But is there a location that has the website directly linked?
Oh, that should be updated, so we'll have to email Anne Marie.
Okay.
And I talked to her earlier. She was also going to put, I don't know if you see the banner at the top
Mhm.
that has our COVID information. She
Yes,
was going
ma'am.
to do another banner on the community development page related to the project. So
Perfect. Yeah, I'm just trying to kind of shook around just like everybody else and see,
yeah.
try to put as much of foot forward for everybody to get there easier. So
Mhm.
perfect.
Yeah, we'll also, on the community development page, it's a few more clicks, but under the planning and zoning section, we can put a button there as well.
Yeah, whatever works. As long as it's as long as people can navigate to it, I think that's really the highlight. Because I don't know how people currently use the website too, so it's a little bit of trial and error, I'm sure.